Welcome to Building Business with Soul with Coach Arliss. This is a show where we will dive into the soulful approach to business, get nerdy with some brain science, and learn the nuts and bolts of how business owners build business through their passion. Let's take a moment to get focused and centered with one round of box breathing, where we will breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and then breathe out for a count of 4. Let's begin. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fantastic. Today, we're going to be focusing on emotional intelligence in business. And you might be asking yourself, what is emotional intelligence in business? Well, according to the author Travis Bradbury, who wrote Emotional Intelligence 2.0, emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and in others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. Emotional intelligence is being recognized as a key ingredient to being a successful leader and to being a successful entrepreneur. In 2004, psychologist Daniel Goleman wrote an article in Harvard Business Review that highlighted emotional intelligence as one of the main factors that sets high-performing leaders apart from their peers. And this is in comparison to their peers that have similar technical skills and knowledge. So emotional intelligence is making a big splash, and it's really important for us as entrepreneurs to grow our emotional intelligence so that we can improve and be more successful in our businesses. So emotional intelligence, or EQ, as opposed to IQ, is broken down into 5 major components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And how can these 5 components of emotional intelligence help us in business? Well, let's dive in and look at each one individually. The importance of self-awareness in business is huge. Self-awareness can impact a company's finances. Other words, the company's bottom line, which we know is a huge factor as to how successful a business is and to the longevity of a business. Better performing companies tend to have more self-aware leaders. And these leaders make better decisions and are mindful of how their leadership impacts future outcomes for their company. Self-awareness helps leaders understand what they bring to their role, how to stay in their lane, and whether or not they are staying in their lane. As you can see, self-awareness impacts business in a huge way. So how do we grow our self-awareness? Well, number 1, be curious about who you are. You are a unique individual, and this uniqueness is true for you as an entrepreneur as well. Look deeply into who you are and what you believe and what you value, and this will bring you deeper self-awareness. Also, let down your walls a little bit. Allow your uniqueness or quirkiness to kind of shine through. Allow people to see who you really are as a person. I also want to encourage you to look in the mirror, literally, to build your self-awareness. See yourself physically and get to know your own features. Keep a journal and note what triggers you positively. What brings on those feelings of happiness and joy? And another way that you can build your self-awareness is to substitute some screen time with some people time. So go out there and spend some time with your friends and family, your colleagues, your referral partners, and maybe even your clients and customers without a screen involved, and have that interpersonal interaction. Another way to grow your self-awareness is to ask others how they see you. What do they see in you? What do they love about you? Ask them these questions and really listen to what their answers are. They may surprise you. Finally, one way to grow your self-awareness around anger is to take a third-person perspective. If you're angry at somebody, what would somebody outside of the situation think of what's going on? And what would they think about your actions and the choices that you're making? If you were that outside person, would you encourage you to continue to react or respond in the way that you are? And if not, how can you bring more self-awareness so that you can make a shift in that? Okay, did you take notes on self-awareness? Great. Now let's dive into self-regulation in business. Self-regulation includes an element of taking responsibility for your own actions and ensuring that what you do matches with your personal values. Self-regulation includes an element of self-control, being trustworthy, not only to those outside of yourself, also being trustworthy within yourself. Conscientiousness is a huge part of self-regulation, and so is adaptability. The last piece of self-regulation is being innovative. How can you grow your self-regulation? The first step is mindfulness, which is a concept that we're going to talk about often on this show. By engaging in skills such as focused breathing and gratitude, mindfulness enables us to put some space between ourselves and our reactions. And this can lead to better focus and feelings of calmness and relaxation. When we're able to step into that place of calm and relaxation, it allows us to respond in ways that are more self-regulated instead of just reacting. Also, practice cognitive appraisal. Changing your thought patterns is cognitive appraisal, and specifically reinterpreting a situation in order to change your emotional response to it. So if you have someone come into your office expressing anger and shaming and blaming and judging, our first reaction might be to get defensive and to see this person as a threat of some kind, or to get all wrapped up in their emotional response. If we can practice cognitive reappraisal, we can change our emotional response by reinterpreting the situation. Many times when people are experiencing anger or they're showing anger, they're actually experiencing fear. And if we see that person as being in a place of fear, it can allow us to be more compassionate and understanding towards them and not get wrapped up in their emotions, and instead have a different emotional response to what's going on. I also want to encourage you to list your values. Make a list of your core values which express who you are and who you're becoming. This will help you practice self-regulation and check in with yourself if the way that you're speaking or acting is in alignment with those core values. Finally, a key aspect of self-regulation is to be flexible. Remain flexible and adapt to situations. This can help us be able to pivot in our businesses when that's needed, and also will help us think outside the box, which we all know is incredibly important to us being successful as entrepreneurs. Okay, let's move on to motivation and increasing our motivation. One of the easiest ways that we can increase our motivation is by simplifying. Make things simple. Break them down to their most common denominator so that you can see the steps along the way. This can allow us to feel less overwhelmed and feel like we know what the steps are and that we're able to accomplish the steps towards accomplishing our goals. Also, I want you to focus on your accomplishments. What have you accomplished today? Take a moment to think about that. I'm sure that you have had little wins throughout your day that maybe you hadn't been focusing on. Maybe you had a client tell you how amazing your work with them has been and how much you've helped them. Maybe you had a sale of a product. Maybe you got a great review on Google. Whatever that simple accomplishment is, focus on that. And this is a way of praising your brain. And when your brain knows that all of the work that you're doing is paying off and turning into these accomplishments, it's going to want to work in your business more. Next, I want you to set measurable goals. Make sure that you know when you will be accomplishing your goal and what accomplishing your goal looks like so that you can celebrate that accomplishment. And figure out how you're going to measure how you are making progress on that goal all along the way. Some of the goals that we set may be weeks or months or years out, and we want to be able to show ourselves how we are making forward progress along that journey. Another way to increase your motivation is to shift your motivation from getting to giving. How can you support those around you? How can you support others in business? How can you further give value to your clients and customers? When we shift from getting to giving, this makes us feel more abundant, and it also makes us feel more profitable and prosperous. I also want you to create and repeat a new positive habit. It could be something as simple as taking 2 minutes of mindfulness in your day and setting that reminder on your phone to remember to take that 2 minutes of mindfulness. When we create and we repeat a new positive habit, it gives us a sense of accomplishment, and it helps our brain know that it's ever learning and that we have the ability to learn and to grow, not only in our life, but in our business too. Okay, a huge motivation booster is always gratitude. And for me, there are 2 aspects of gratitude. The first is, what are you grateful for in your life and business around you? Maybe you have that team member that helps you and you are so grateful for the way that they support you in growing your business. Maybe you're grateful for sales or new clients. Maybe you're grateful for a new technology that you're using or a new program. All of that is wonderful expressions of gratitude. And the second form of gratitude is, what do you appreciate about yourself and how you're showing up for yourself and for your business? This is really key because you're doing amazing things in your life and business, and you deserve just as much gratitude from yourself as you give to others. This is why I end my show each week with asking you to think about things that you appreciate about yourself. If there's one thing that you take away from today's show, start to appreciate yourself for the things that you do and who you are. And make a list of those so that you can remind yourself on those days when maybe you don't feel as inspired as others. Another way to increase your motivation is to increase your energy. And one of the simplest ways to do this is to make sure that you're getting enough sleep and that you're getting enough hydration. Most people typically need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a day. And most entrepreneurs aren't getting that. And it's amazing what happens when we start to get enough sleep. We can feel like we have so much more energy to do our businesses and to really show up as who we are and fully present in our business. Okay, let's move on to the next portion of emotional intelligence, and that's empathy. What does empathy really mean? The term empathy is used to describe a wide range of experiences. Emotional researchers generally define empathy as the ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. Another way to simply put this is, what would it be like to stand in another person's shoes or be in another person's situation? Practicing empathy is a superpower when it comes to business. It can really help us understand what our customers' needs and wants are. It can also help us understand how we can interact with colleagues or team members in the way that supports them. And it can allow us to grow our brand by using languaging that is receptive to our ideal client. When we practice empathy, a great way to do this is through the use of the platinum rule. And I know that you probably have heard the golden rule before, which is treat others how you would want to be treated. And the platinum rule takes it one empathetic step further. The platinum rule says treat others how they would want to be treated. And what does this have to do with business? Well, ask yourself, what do your customers and clients really need and want? How do they want to be spoken to? What are they responsive to? How are they looking to be supported? What are they going to find as value? And then you can take it even deeper into your company. What do your team members need to feel motivated and inspired and loyal? What is their love languages? There's so many things that you can think about from an empathetic point of view that will help you to grow your business and be more successful. Okay, now it's time to look at the last aspect of emotional intelligence, which is social skills. Social skills are the skills we use every day to interact and communicate with each other. They include verbal and nonverbal communication. And these are things such as speech, gesture, facial expressions, and body language. I'm sure you can remember a time when you walked into a business meeting or a networking event and you saw lots of smiling, open faces. Didn't it feel welcoming and warm? And I imagine that you've had the experience of walking into a business or networking event where people looked a little glum and weren't smiling. And maybe that took a little bit of wind out of your sails. And this is a great example to show how our social skills set the stage for how we get to interact with other people and how they experience us. So how can we improve our social skills? The first thing is to listen to people. Really listen to listen. What do I mean by that? Try not to listen to form your response or to get the next word in. Listen to listen. This may make it so that there are more pauses in between the interaction with the person that you're talking to. And you'll be able to show them through your dialogue that you are really hearing them, that you're fully present, and that you care and that you're engaged. This can allow people to feel a deeper sense of trust with you and to feel safe in sharing more. And this is critical when we're talking about our clients and customers, because our clients and customers really, really want to be heard. Next, be interested in people's stories. Be more interested in people's stories than telling your own. So, what are the questions that you're going to ask someone to know more about them? Maybe you're going to ask them where they grew up, or where they live now, or what they're passionate about, or how they love to have fun. When we listen to people and we're more interested in people's stories than telling our own, it supports people in really showing up authentically as who they are and not feeling judged, which is so important to growing relationships. And we know that building relationships is a key part of building our businesses. So the next question I want to ask you is, do you function better on one-on-one terms, like one-on-one conversations, or do you function better in large crowds? Think about this for a minute. Where do you enjoy? Where do you shine? What feels comfortable for you? And once you know that, you know the area that you already have better social skills in, and then you know the area where you could improve your social skills and improve your comfort level. So asking yourself that question can really help you gain awareness. Another way to improve your social skills is to not be too negative or ironic, and to not make the conversation focused on complaints. Now, we're all human, and our lives can feel a bit full sometimes. And maybe that fullness can feel like challenge even. And we don't want to not show our humanness. And it's important that we also show that we're able to see past that as well, to see past the challenge, to see past the fullness, to be fully present where we are, and to be grateful for the interaction that we're getting to have. When we use sarcasm or negativity or irony to create jokes or things like that, sometimes that can have a negative impact on the conversation that we're having because it brings too much negativity into the conversation. Okay, so how does it feel when you haven't seen somebody for a while and they remember your name? And not only that, they remember your story. Wow, doesn't it feel like you had that connection? That they took the time to really care and remember, and that they feel like the time that they spent with you was important? Well, that's one of the ways that we can improve our social skills, is by remembering people's names and remembering people's stories. Do the work to do that. I can't remember how many times I've heard, oh, I'm just terrible with names. Well, it's time to change that up. And we have tools that we can use in order to remember people's names. We can make sure we get their business card, put their information into our CRM and make notes. We can also do word analogies, or if we have visual memory, we can study their face to remember it later. Do whatever tips or tricks you need to do in order to remember people's names and stories, and you will stand out with your social skills. Also, don't feel as though you need to fill every gap with talking. It's okay to take a pause once in a while. And when we listen on a deeper level, we will be pausing more often. Follow up with people. If you say you're going to send them something, or you say you're going to schedule another meeting with them, make sure not only do you follow up, but you follow through. Know when to leave. Be aware of who's around you. And if the party is ending, be conscious of that. Support the host in cleaning up or what they need to do, but don't overstay your welcome. And then remember, above all else, social skills are about love and connection. Okay, let's recap a little bit. First, self-awareness gives us a clear view of our feelings, needs, and behaviors. When we are truly self-aware, it is easier to self-regulate by taking responsibility for our actions and meeting our own needs. We are less likely to blame others or rely on others around us to meet our needs. We become aware of how our actions affect those around us with our social skills and what is and isn't appropriate in the context. By being more aware of our needs and behaviors, our excitement to show up and grow our business can improve our motivation. And finally, empathy allows us to understand people's perspectives outside of our own and see situations from another person's point of view. As we navigate working with others in our business, we are better equipped to set healthy boundaries, respect boundaries of others, and have productive communication. We will waste less energy on conflict and emotional hangovers. The overall work environment will be more positive, which improves employee retention and promotes more feelings of fulfillment and happiness at work. So you might be saying, wow, Coach Arliss, all of this sounds amazing, but you haven't talked about how emotional intelligence impacts the bottom line yet. Where's the numbers? Where's the nerdiness? Okay, let's dive into that for a moment. Based on research done with over 42,000 people by Dr. Travis Bradbury, individuals with high emotional intelligence make on average $29,000 per year more than people with low emotional intelligence. On average, every point increase in emotional intelligence adds $1,300 to an annual salary. There is a linear relationship with an increase in annual income and an increase in emotional intelligence. And why is this? Well, individuals with higher emotional intelligence are better communicators. They bring higher value to their clients and customers, and they perform better in stressful situations. And unlike IQ, which is thought to be fixed and unchangeable, emotional intelligence, or EQ, can be increased through learning self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, motivation, and empathy. So overall, how can we increase our emotional intelligence? We need to be willing to see the other side. If your actions or choices impact another person or group, be willing to see the impact of that action or choice from their side. Would you want to be experiencing that outcome if you were on their side? Know the difference between intent and impact. Intent is what you thought the outcome would be, and impact is what actually happened. If you impact someone in a negative way, take responsibility for that and apologize. Denying the impact of something because of a positive intent can be more damaging than the initial negative impact. Practice self-evaluation. What areas of emotional intelligence are you strong in? And what areas could you improve in? Are you able to see yourself as not perfect and still be supportive and gentle with yourself as you're learning? Make a plan for the areas you want to grow and improve in. Reactions to stressful situations. How do you react when you're under stress and pressure? Do you go to a place of shame and blame of others or yourself? Or do you get upset and angry with yourself and others? Emotional intelligence is highly valued in the business world because individuals with emotional intelligence can stay calm and feel focused under stress and still be able to make hard decisions. My last question is, where are you shining your light? Are you shining your light on your accomplishments, or are you championing others around you? You can be outgoing and confident and allow others around you to shine. This can help in building trust and relationships, which are important for building business. In order to practice emotional intelligence in our businesses, we have to start from the inside first, with ourselves. You can't give to others from an empty cup. Take a moment today to think about and recognize yourself for what you appreciate about yourself. Thank you for joining me, Coach Arliss, on Building Business with Soul. If you would like to learn more about how I support entrepreneurs, please check out my website, soullutions.com. That's SOULLUTIONS.com. Join me next week, where we dive into more soulful approaches for business.